Today we'll be showing you how to configure a VPLS Layer 2 VPN instance on Juniper. So if you remember our previous videos, this is what our lab looks like. And we've got our two root reflectors at the top here. We've got one PE site A router on the left and one PE site B router on the right. Then we also have a CPE device on both sides, CPE site A and CPE site B. And we are running a full MPLS network in this lab. If you are curious how we got here, I'll put the link to the playlist in the top right hand corner now. And we'll just quickly go through the config. I'm not going to dwell too much on it as we've covered it before in previous videos. So let's first have a look at CPE site A config. If we go here, we just do a show display set. There's very little going on here. This is a virtual SRX device. You can see that we have a family INET address configured on here, 192.168.10.1. It's configured for VLAN 512. We've got an interface description, and that's pretty much it. Seeing that it's a security device, we have a security zone, VPLS, where this interface resides. Right, the same story would be true for CPEB. So if we just do a show pipe display set, it's exactly the same. You'll see that this IP is actually in the same subnet as this IP. The whole purpose of a VPLS Layer 2 VPN instance is for this router over here, or CPE, to have Layer 2 connectivity to this router over here. If it is only a single site to a single site, we could have used a cross-circuit connect as well, or a CCC, but I just wanted to focus on VPLS. I wanted to show you how to configure it. If you want to add additional sites to your VPLS, you can just replicate the config and change the site's identifiers. The limitation of a Layer 2 circuit or a cross-connect circuit is that it's only from point A to point B. With VPLS, you can have multiple sites from A to Z. All right, let's have a look at our router config here. We'll just do a show display set. I'm not going to go through everything. You can just pause if there's anything that you want to have a look at specifically, and we'll have a look at site router B as well. So one thing that you do need to know, for our previous labs, we configured MPLS and a Layer 3 VPN. So for this to work, you actually need Layer 2 VPN signaling in your BGP group. And this needs to be configured on all your routers in your network, except the CPE. So all of these routers that I've selected now. And then just to show you that this Layer 2 connection is not working at the moment. So we do a run ping 192.168.10.1 to its local address. That address will respond. And .2 is the remote address, and that is not working. So to configure a VPLS routing instance, it's actually very easy. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do, we're going to start with our interface config on the PE or the router. So we go into edit interfaces GE002. We do a show. So currently there's only a description, and this is the uplink to CPEA. So firstly, we'll start with enabling VLAN tagging. So set VLAN tagging under the parent interface. Then we also need to enable encapsulation VLAN VPLS. Right, and then under the logical unit, so I'm just going to use logical unit 0. We do encapsulation VLAN VPLS again, and set unit 0 VLAN ID, and we're going to name it, or we're going to give it VLAN 512. Right, if we do a show, that all looks okay, and we can go ahead and commit that. Right, so that's our interface config done, and now we can start with the routing instance config. So we can just go top edit routing instances, and yeah, we will just give it a name. So we are just going to name it VPLS. So we start off with the set instance type, and this will be VPLS. And then next we are going to attach the interface to this the routing instance. So this will be interface GE002. -002.0. Remember to put the .0. And the same as with our MPLS config or our Layer 3 VPN config, we will configure a root distinguisher and a VRF target. Right, so we will just go set root distinguisher. And for this, I'm just going to use the local AS, which is 65535, followed by a colon and the VLAN ID. Right, and we can do the same for the VRF target. So set VRF target, And I explained in the previous video as well. So this would be the format. So target 655.35:512. All right, now we can just do a show. And that's it for our specific routing instance config. So now we just need to go under edit protocols of VPLS. So remember, this is still under the routing instance. I just want to show you if we go up. So if we do a show, this is still under protocols or under routing instance VPLS. There we configure the protocols. This is not under the parent protocols. Just keep that in mind when you configure protocols VPLS. So from here, we just go edit protocols VPLS. And for this one, what we need to do is we need to specify a site range. So we are going to site range 10. This is just setting the maximum number of sites that will participate in this VPLS. I just usually set it to 10 as default. If you expect more sites to participate in this specific VPLS, then you can obviously increase this number. So we're just going to go with 10. Then because this is a virtual device, we are going to enable no tunnel services. So some devices that don't support tunnel services on the PICs, you need to enable no tunnel services or disable tunnel services, however you look at it. And next we are going to give this site a name and an identifier. So the site name needs to be unique as well as the site identifier. So we are going to use site name site A and site identifier 1. Right, so if we just go up and we do a show, this is basically the config that you need for your VPLS routing instance. So we can just go top and commit. And now that our config is committed, we can do a run show VPLS connections, VPLS connections. I can't type. And you can see that we have no connections. That is because we haven't configured the remote site yet. So to make it a little bit easier, we can just copy all this config, which is the interface config as well as the routing instance config from this router. We'll just change 1 or 2 parameters and then we'll dump it onto site B's router. So for this one, we'll just change this one to CPE B. This site becomes site B and the site identifier becomes 2. And that's literally the only thing that you need to change. So we can just go ahead, copy this, and we can paste it into this router. So we can do a commit, and it should just work. Now, if we do a run show VPLS connections, it might take a little while to come up. Oh, this one actually came up quite quickly. So now it just shows you the state as up. And now we can go back to our CPEs, and we can retry this ping again. And there you can see that it is working. And we will do a ping from the remote side as well. So run ping 192.168.10.1, which is site A CPE, and it is working. We can just confirm that it is actually going via that interface. So we do a run show of no resolve. So you can see that it's learning 192.168.10.1 via interface GE000.512. And the same should apply on this side. We just do a run show of no resolve. And it's the same interface connecting to our PE, and that means that our VPLS is working as expected. So just coming back to our topology here, with a VPLS, this CPE and this CPE here, they need to be in the same subnet because it's a layer 2 connection, right? So this is why we've got 10.1 configured here and 10.2 configured here. With a layer 2 VPN, there's no routing that needs to happen between these two CPEs. Everything is handled in the backbone via MPLS. Now, why would this be useful or necessary? Well, if you have 2 data centers and you've got servers in both locations and they need to communicate on the same subnet, then the layer 2 circuit is obviously your best bet. If you don't really care about that and you want to do a routing between your sites, then a layer 3 VPN would be your best bet. All right, and that's it for this video. It was quite a short one, but I hope you guys enjoyed it anyway. If you did, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and as always, we hope to see you guys in the next one.